federal government needs to hire back any of the meteorologists who were fired in the last few months?
I wouldn't know that. I really wouldn't. I would think not. This was the thing that happened in seconds. Nobody expected it. Nobody saw it. Very talented people are there, and they didn't see it. It's, I guess they said, once in 100 years. They've never seen anything like this. So I wouldn't, I mean, people are trying to blame the school. They're trying to blame the camp. They're trying to blame. It's just a horrible thing. But no, I wouldn't say that. No.
Democrats are claiming more federal cuts for the deaths over in Texas.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, all of a sudden, Grandpa can't hear anymore. I think he heard the previous question just fine. And we heard him as he tried to imply that everybody's just blaming the school or the camp or whatever. No, we're saying that the cuts could contribute to this and other disasters. Like, it's about you. And as soon as we make it clear to him, no, they're talking about you. Huh? What? Where? Who? I can't hear anything all of a sudden. Well, then maybe don't do all of your interviews near a goddamn helicopter would be my suggestion to Grandpa. But obviously, he heard the question. He's not here to take responsibility. What, for the first time in his life, he's gonna take responsibility for the outcomes of the actions him and his administration have taken? And so when he's asked, should you perhaps hire people back? No, I don't know anything about that. Well, shouldn't you? Before you do the firings, shouldn't you know what effect they'll have? But don't worry, it wouldn't matter anyway because he thinks not. Nah, you fire all those people and maybe there's no more warnings. Maybe we don't have the satellites. Maybe we don't do the weather balloon launches. Maybe we don't have enough experts to get this information to the people who need it in an expeditious fashion. But I would think not, because if we fund that stuff, then we're gonna have to raise taxes. And I don't know if you know this, but I'm a billionaire and I don't like that. And so they've done a lot of cuts actually. Since just January of this year, the NWS, which is a branch of NOAA, has reduced its workforce by nearly 600 people. Many of those that were fired were specialized climate scientists and weather forecasters, which maybe would have something to do with a thing like this, I don't know. Some offices had staffing reductions of more than 40%. At least 8 offices stopped operating 24 hours a day this spring as a result, which is fine. As we all know, weather only happens a maximum of 16 hours a day. Everything's cool during the other hours. And some have suspended weather balloon launches, one of the ways that you gather this data. And we can show other again, it's cuts and cuts and cuts. And what do they care? Donald Trump's kids aren't at that camp. Donald Trump is never gonna be caught in a flash flood like this. Rich people are always going to be protected. It's the rest of us who suffer when they engage in a cutting philosophy like this. So no, they just don't care. They don't even hear the question, JR.
Can't hear it, never heard it, never really cared about in the first place. I'm glad you brought up the point when he was talking about, I wouldn't know that. If you wouldn't know it, but his answer was still no, why do you have an answer of no if you wouldn't know that? The knee-jerk reaction is no, we don't need to hire back people that actually do the job that would prevent things like this from happening or limit the number of folks that we lose and the damage that it would cause. Maybe give people enough of a warning to save themselves or have resources to save themselves and even rebuild afterwards. He wouldn't know it, but the answer is still no. It's such a simple little explanation, but it says so much about his approach. He doesn't know anything, but the answer is definitely no. How does he know that? Who knows? Who cares? But also, if he knew, he would know that cutting all those agencies that we just pointed out would actually lead directly to people's lives being lost. So someone asked him, someone did ask him, and that's when he couldn't hear anything anymore. When someone asks you, so your cuts led to the deaths of Americans at that school in July, because he doesn't even know that it's a camp, but it's a school in the middle of July that apparently people are blaming. Who knows? I mean, somebody's blaming somebody, and they're not blaming me because I'm the most important person in the world as these people die. There's a direct result of the things that you do, and when you've done those things and people die, yes, you're responsible for their deaths.
Yeah. Look, there's like you could like Donald Trump. You could say, I think the purpose of the government is to just enforce order so that we can have markets, we can have corporations, we can generate profits, and that's it. And I don't care what else happens to anybody else, and I think he's doing a great job in regard to that. That wouldn't actually be accurate with all the tariffs and the chaos in the stock market and everything, but you could make that case. It's just that when people say he'll protect us. Not only will he not protect us, not only did he not protect us, he presided over the biggest failure of the US government in our entire lives in response to COVID. This is not a hypothetical anymore. He already effed up in that. He doesn't even try. It could not be any clearer in these responses. He's just waiting for the moment when people don't ask questions about this anymore. Which, as tragic as we're saying about this, is when? A day, 2 days, maybe 3. And then there will not be any more questions about this, and then we're done. He doesn't have to do anything. And just remember, there's 2 sides to this. So there's one, it's all the cuts to the things that in theory maybe could have given people more warning. Okay, but that's not the only side of the cuts. The cuts are also what comes after, okay? Because he's posted on Truth Social, oh man, we're sending in FEMA and we're helping out. But you might have remembered some news about FEMA from earlier this year, which is that it's not going to exist very soon. So let's talk about that. First, here he is being asked about it.
Are you still planning to phase out FEMA?
Well, FEMA is something we can talk about later. But right now they're busy working, so we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, and I feel like that doesn't look good for your argument. They're busy working. Why? Because America is often racked by natural disasters and desperately needs the help and coordination and funding, the aid that FEMA provides. It's so crucial that you, who very much is not working right now, you're standing on a tarmac, you can't even answer a question because of how crucial the work they're doing is. And he says, and this goes right back to what we were saying, JR, let's talk about that later. Well, why? Well, because it would look really bad if I said I was gonna cut it now, wouldn't it? Ugh. But let's talk about it later when people aren't thinking about the flooding. Okay, well, the joke's on him because it's not like we can go a long time in America without something happening that FEMA's needed for. But the important thing is they're gonna do it anyway. So they've defunded the thing that gives you the warning, and now they're defunding the thing that comes in to clean up the mess that they contributed to. And so in the future, you're not gonna know that the flooding is coming, and your kids are gonna be swept away. And then when you need to rebuild your community, I hope Texas is feeling generous at that moment. Hasn't been the case traditionally, but maybe for your particular crisis. And we won't have FEMA, and we won't have NOAA, and we won't have the National Weather Service, and we won't have all of these things that not even like an awesome government or country, but just like a bare bones country in 2025 should have. But America just can't afford it anymore. JR, final thoughts.
Yeah, it's weird how FEMA is something that he wants to talk about later. But before all this, FEMA was something he was very open to talking about consistently, about how he wants to destroy it, how he wants to get rid of it, how we're gonna eliminate it. We're on a time schedule to eliminate it as soon as this hurricane season is over. But in the meantime, we're gonna kneecap it so that it's not even really that effective during this hurricane season. You know why? Because it's just too expensive. You know, there's all this bureaucracy and red tape and people that are dishonestly skimming money off the top that we're completely making up. And it was proven that we're making that up. And then he's saving people of North Carolina, despite the fact that people of North Carolina told you in that last storm before that he wasn't saving them. And those lies about what it is that the Biden administration was doing during those storms, that you were gonna change completely because what we need is no one at FEMA. Isn't it weird how that works? But it's too expensive, and we're gonna continue to dismantle and destroy it. That's his plan. And then for you to maybe donate to a GoFundMe, and that's gonna save people's lives. That's their approach, because again, they don't care about these people that voted for him. They definitely don't care about the people that didn't. And as a matter of fact, they want you to die. Have we gotten that clear yet in this part of this whole story today? They want you to die. That's their plan. And if something happens to them, it's the biggest scandal and travesty and murderous spree that you'll ever see. A rich person dies. Poor people, normal people, middle class people die. And it's, I need to go golfing.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, ask me about it, as Ray Druck points out, ask me about it in 2 weeks, if you can remember. If it hasn't been swept away by a dozen other crazy stories.
John, do you remember the Minnesota lawmakers that were killed 2 weeks ago? No one talks about that anymore.
I know. Oh yeah, no, we made the point when we talked about the funeral. Yeah, 100%. Just don't worry about it for right now. Some other chaos will come in the next day or two, and it'll distract you, and that'll be really nice for everyone.